Hi, this is Rachelle at Scrapcraftastic, and I know we are in the middle of putting together our December daily. I'm not sure when this video is going to go up, but I was sorting through some old planner stuff and some of my junk journal stuff, and I came across these pieces. So what these are dashboards, um, folders. This is a folder from a I think B6 Traveler's Notebook that I made, very similar to the folder that we made for the cover of the December daily. It just doesn't have the top reinforcement, and I did cut the slits on the side to give full use of the pockets. Um, it's not as heavyweight as the paper that I used for the December daily, but this was a folder that I had in a Traveler's Notebook. This is Let's see what this one is. I think this is the double pocket envelope. Yep. So it loads at the top. It's an envelope, and you would put this on the elastics and wrap it around an insert or notebook, and then you have pocket space. So I'm not using these anymore. These were just some blank dashboards. These are not my design. This is a digital from a shop that I used back in the day. So yeah, and I just had made these were either wraps around inserts or whatever the purpose, but they're just pieces of paper that are left over that I can repurpose. I'm going to show you a way to repurpose things like this from your planner or traveler's notebook where you've made something and you're no longer using it. Instead of just throwing it away, you can and make something new. So I'm going to make a quick notebook for fall. I can use it for Thanksgiving, maybe menu or memory keeping gratitude, whatever the case may be. But using these pieces that are already put together, I am going to attempt to make something. And I also had these little cut aparts, probably from one of the paper pads that I used, and they were just tucked in. So I am going to use those as well for this. Okay, so we basically have a lot of the work already done with the papers. We don't have to choose any papers. This was a DIY acetate that I made using um, it's not glitter. I guess it's the large plate glitter. I'm sure it's called something else. And then it had a pocket on it, and I could actually remove this pocket, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it. And then this little washi tape flower, I'm going to take that off. That's just washi tape. Stick it on my other camera pole. So yeah, and then it has a pocket and a couple of more of those cut apart, so I can just use those, maybe glue those together and pop them in the pockets so that when you see it, there's a design on either side. We'll see how that goes. But again, I'm not using this, probably won't use it, so I can repurpose it and use it in a journal. So I got all of these pieces that I can use. Then I had some extra printouts. These two envelopes are project envelopes that I have. I'll link to these envelopes in the description box below. But these are kind of how I store my projects, and I have three fall themed envelopes that I can pull from for this, for other fall projects that I have ongoing. So I pulled out some of my digitals. These are digitals that I released last year, I think. um, fall. So since they're already printed, even though they're not printed on the right weight paper, I'm going to make this work. So these I'll probably use on the inside, and I'm thinking I can use these two to make my cover. And then I have this digital. This is a freebie Friday. This is available to Scrapcraftastic channel members. This one didn't print quite right. I think my printer is running out of ink. So I don't know why this one didn't print right, but this one did. Not gonna worry about it. I will use this for something else, or maybe I can actually use her inside. And I was thinking of making her a topper of some sort, and I may need to make her smaller as well. Just showing you all of this, and then I'm going to set it aside for now and work on cover. I haven't quite decided what I want to do for the cover. I just, let's see, it goes this way. I just know I wanted to use these two pieces. These are printed probably on 32-pound paper, so it's not really heavy enough on its own to be a cover, but we're going to make it work. Also, this is B6, so it's probably about 7 inches in height. I don't know that I want to make a B6. So what I can do is stagger the height of the pieces on the inside and make it fit the cover. So doing something like this. All the pages don't have to be the same height. They don't have to be the same width. They can be different. And then if I do that, I can incorporate regular letter size pages folded in half into this and not have to do a lot of cutting and measuring. So to start, I just really need to decide what I am going to do as it relates to the cover. I definitely want this design to be the outside. But then if this is the outside, this is going to be cut off a little bit on the inside as far as that window goes. You're not really going to see it. Don't want to crease the paper yet. You'll see a little bit of it on the back. I don't know. Maybe I should use this as my centerpiece and maybe back this on something else. What do we think? So that would be in the middle. When you open up the middle of the journal, this is what you would see. I think I'm going to do that and come up with something different to do for the cover. And I could make this smaller, maybe, because I could use a mailer that I received recently. I just don't know what I did with the mailer. Did I already put it in the recycle bin? I might have. Let me see if I can find that mailer. Okay, so I got two mailers here. This is a whole mailer that's been opened. See here? And then this is a leftover piece of this from the same place that I used for something else. This one feels a little more flimsy, but we'll use a piece of this possibly for the spine. I think I'm going to need a spine for this one. So this will be our first experience with a true spine, I think. I'm going to take this apart, or at least try to take this piece off carefully. We don't want to ruin the integrity of this. Let's see if I can open this up. What is the measurement of this? Right now, it's about 6 by a little less than 8. So it may work. Let me see if I can get this opened up without doing too much damage. Okay, so let's get this trimmed up and looking more like a cover. All right, so I use my pencil to mark that so that I could make sure I'm cutting on that fold line because once I get it in the trimmer, I can't really see. Okay, still not actually that straight, but it's better than it would have been. Okay, so we got our two cover pieces. Maybe I can peel some more of this off. I'm probably going to end up wrapping this if I have enough. Let's see how our leftover pieces fit inside. They fit. So I guess I'm going to have a smaller journal than I anticipated. But that's okay because I want to use what I have, and that's going to fit in there perfectly. However, I am going to add pages to it. So I need to figure out what's going to happen with the spine because this isn't going to be long enough to cover the whole thing. I could do a fabric cover outside and then just do paper on the inside. Or I could use some of my scrapbook paper on the outside. I'm always trying to figure out ways to use my 12 by 12 paper. So this might be a good occasion, even though I really, really, really wanted to use my own papers. But let me see what scrapbook paper I have that I could use. So after racking my brain trying to figure out what I want to do and pulling out stuff and putting it back, I have decided that I am going to wrap these pieces of board. They have some imperfections. So I think wrapping them individually and then attaching a spine separately is going to be the way to go. It's so very hard for me to try and keep this as simple as possible because there's so much I want to do. But that's what always gets me caught up is I start doing too much and the project gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm going to make an effort here to keep this very simple. I'm going to attach these covers. My front cover and back cover are going to have to be different because I don't have two of these papers the same weight. The other paper is too lightweight. So I am not going to use it. Which side do I want to do? I guess I'll do the glossy side. So I'm going to get this glued down and wrap, and I'll go ahead and do both of them, and then I'll come back. Um, so I'm just going to go ahead and do both of these that way. Put a generous amount of glue that little area that was torn. And because this has this label on here, oh, look how the acetone and the glue affects that label paper. That's pretty cool. Just changing the color of it. Okay. I was going to speed through this, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go slow so you can see the details. It'll just kind of take me a little longer to edit, but that's fine. All right. I need to clean up some of these scraps. I'm just going to trim off the excess and then go ahead and mush it down. Making sure that glue is spread really well. Other side. I may have to do this video in two parts. I wanted to do it all in one part, but if I'm going to go slow, I probably need to divide it up. So this paper is going to go on the back side. Where did I put the glue? It's kind of difficult working with Fabri-Tac when it's almost empty. But because it costs so much, I want to use every single drop. Also, don't store your Fabri-Tac upside down when you're not using it. I do it while I'm using it, but when you're not using it, don't do that because it will seep out. And I guess it doesn't really matter what orientation the paper is in at this point. Let's cut this off. Try to cut it straight. Okay, so I have wrapped many, many times. I have a special ruler to help with this, but I'm going to show you how to do it just with your scissors. So what you want to do is miter the corners, but you don't want to go all the way to the edge of your chipboard or whatever you're using. You want to leave a little space because if you don't, you'll end up with the exposed chipboard. Leaving that little bit of extra helps make a folded nice corner. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one too while we're at it. You need to leave at least the thickness of the chipboard, maybe even more. And you can either cut straight across or do it like kind of like a, I don't know what that shape would be considered. This one I did straight across. So now I'm just going to use the momentum of the paper to fold it over. These covers aren't going to be very thick. They're going to be just thin. The weight of the paper that I'm using to cover them. However, on the inside, I'm going to probably use some type of cardstock that will give it a little more sturdiness. Okay, so let's make sure all of that is nice and folded. Let's do the same over here. I'm really pissed to move some of this stuff off my desk. Oh, I can feel the glue on that one. Let's do a little better job burnishing. I'm going to use this metal ruler. This is the metal ruler that I mentioned that I got from Dollar Tree. Did I just scrape off my ink? I hope not. I can feel that that's going to be up against the spine, so that should be fine. All right, so I'm going to put a little arrow showing which way is up. And this is the front, this is the back. I'm going to use glue. Ordinarily, I would just use tape, but let's keep it simple once again, and let's just use glue. I'm going to do the long sides first. I think glue is okay in this case because, again, this is paper. It's not cardstock. Probably should be cardstock. This is why I like to use tape to wrap. I like to use tape because I don't have to worry about the folded over parts coming up. Takes glue a little longer, but once that tape connects, that's it. So normally when I'm wrapping, I would use the tape with a little glue, just to be sure. We're using glue today. All right, so that's the back piece wrapped and ready to go as far as the outside. Get a little more glue out of here to finish this up. Okay, so these are the front and back cover put together. Not perfect, but doable. Okay. Now, the dilemma is what am I going to do as far as the spine? I have an idea. Okay, so I'm going to use some cardstock. I got some black cardstock here, and it doesn't have to be a full piece of cardstock. It can be whatever cardstock you have. And I'm going to make a gusseted spine, I think. I've never done this way, but we're going to try it. All right, so I'm going to score at, using my scoreboard and my bone folder, I'm going to score at 1 3/4, 2, I think I'm gonna have a 3/4 inch spine. Is that enough? So 2 3/4, 3 and 4 3/4, which I really don't need to score here. This is really just where I need to cut. Okay, so what I've done is I've given myself 1 3/4 inch on either side. If I measured that correctly, it doesn't look right. And then a gusset of 1/4 of an inch on either side of the spine, then a 3/4 inch spine. Just cut off what I don't need in that direction. And now sticking together. I need to trim off what I don't need in this direction. So I'm going to use my paper trimmer to cut that off. So what I have done is given myself a flap on each side. So these flaps will be what attaches to my covers. So that'll attach that way. Okay. And then this will attach this way. We'll have a small spine in the middle. And then this little gusseted area will help it all fold neatly, hopefully. Now, to reinforce the spine, I'm going to use handy dandy piece of packaging here that I may end up wrapping as well. So let's mark the height of this. Just using what I got laying around here. And this is a more flexible piece of packaging. It's not stiff. So let's trim that off. Then the spine is 3/4 of an inch, so we're gonna go slightly smaller so we don't interfere with the folding. I'm getting a lot of use out of that little piece of packaging. Okay. Then this will fit inside, but it also will need to be covered. So I got a piece of black paper here that I can go ahead and cover it with, right? I could probably cover it with cardstock too, but I just happen to have this black paper here. So let's go ahead and fold on our score lines for the spine. I'm going to fold that part first. So on each side of the spine, that's our spine. Then on the 1/4 inch on each side, we're going to fold it back the other way. Fold it back the other way. So this is our spine. Okay. So it looks like a little box. And I hope that's going to be big enough. We're not going to stuff this. So then our paper, or covers rather, will sit on there like so. Then when you pick it up and close it, you'll have a little gusseted area on each side. All right, so let's put this bit on the inside. So I'm just going to put glue. Now we could get out the fabric and cover it in fabric and all of that, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to do it like so. Then I'm just going to trim off the excess. And just like we did the covers, I'm just going to miter these corners. This isn't quite centered, but it's fine. And again, this is black paper. It's not cardstock. So it's not going to be heavy and chunky. And I need to let this dry a little bit, but we're going to proceed. Let's see. I can at least fold these over. This is basically what we're going to be stitching the spine into. So it's going to make it a little more sturdy. And I think I'm going to use tape for this because that glue is not going to cooperate with these little bitty flaps. So let's see what we can do with the tape. I'm just going to put it on the white part because this tape is really too wide for the little bitty flaps that I made. So by putting it on the white part, if it doesn't if the black part doesn't cover the entire white part like the tape is, this side is going to be glued down anyway, so it'll be fine. It doesn't just be a little extra adhesive on the back side. So I'm burnishing that down, making sure that tape is down really well. I want to pull it up. And fold this over. Just going to fold that down. Use a little art glitter glue. Fold this bit down. Okay, so the middle of this is sticky because the tape is a little wide, but that is fine. Now I could put this on the outside, but I think it'll be better to go on the inside. Let's put it in place. So again, this is reinforcing the spine. I should probably have put some tape on there because over time, this is going to wear down. So that's in, and this will go here. This will go here. Remember, the front will go on the right, the back will go on the left. All right, so I'm going to miter these flaps just a little bit. So I'm just going to cut them at an angle, just a hair, so that once we glue them down, you won't see the black sticking out even though you shouldn't see it anyway, because the paper that I use is black. I'm just gonna miter those two pieces off. Make sure you got it going towards the top. And I'm going ahead and attaching the spine so that when we put the inside paper on, it's going to cover all of that. Also, if I want to come in and add some lace on top, which I might, just to make sure that these 4 folds hold up over time, I could actually do it on the outside or the inside. We'll see. Let's go ahead and move. Don't think too much. Let's do it. So I'm going to do the back flap first. Give it time to catch before I mess with it. Make sure that glue is spread back there. And I can use my glue eraser to clean that up. When you want to clean up the Fabri-Tac with the glue eraser, it's best to do it before it completely dries and it's still a little tacky, is the time to get that any seeping glue out of the way. If you wait until it gets rock hard, it won't pull it up. It still needs to have that rubbery texture. Okay, so now I can always come back and cover that spine with something. There we go. With the basics of the cover, now I can always go in here. I need some cardstock for this part though. And cover the inside bits. This is a paper pad that I'm trying to bust. And I've used quite a bit of the paper out of here for the fall journal that I showed in a previous video. Ooh, we could use that. But I don't know if these pages are going to be, I get that glue out of there. If I'm going to be able to use a 12 by 12, yes, I should be able to, because I need 5 and 3/8 inch. So I can use this page. All right, so this paper pad that I've almost used all of is called Hearth and Harvest. It is from Michaels from what year? 2019. I think the orange does something with my camera and makes it look blue. I'm not going to do measuring the traditional way because I always get it wrong when I try and do that. I am going to do it this way. Let's remove this extra stuff that I don't need right now. So I'm going to leave a little margin because we want to see the black around the edge. So we're going to do something like this. So therefore I'm going to mark where I want to cut. Oh, but I want this part to be on there. So let me do it like this. So I'm going to cut here. And then once I do that, just mark the paper, but it's fine. Once I cut that off, then I can determine the width of each piece. So now I'm going to cut about right here. Then coming from this side, do I want to ink edges? Let's do it. I might need to put my gold pen somewhere else. Not going to grunge it up, just inking it to get rid of the white core. So now we can glue these two pieces down. What do I want to do for a closure? I can put the closure on the outside. Okay. So let's go ahead and glue. What did we start with? We started with a mailer that I got stickers in. Then I used some of my own digitals. One real piece of cardstock. Um, a piece of cardstock. Probably could have used pretty much anything. And now we're using leftover paper from a paper pad that I've been trying to finish off. Basically, these are, as far as the papers, leftovers from that other fall journal. This could probably even be like a companion journal for that. And I didn't really want to do fall so late, but because I found those inserts, dashboards and whatnot that are fall themed, I'm gonna go ahead and use all of that. And what you could do for covers like this is put tape around the edge so you can make sure your edges are glued down really well, and then put the wet glue on the inside part. I'm always concerned about edges being glued down well, but then I don't want to scrub the paper too much and mar it. But let's go ahead and try and make sure that glue is spread really well. And we are going to use book corners on this, so that should help. All right. So there we got a nice little bookish looking piece there. So these are our page bits that we're going to put in here. I don't know that I want this to be the first thing you see, but this is how I want the pages to flow. That's going to give 2 white pages right there. But I think I can put a piece of black in there to break that up. This is the leftover cardstock from the spine, so I'm going to use that. Break up some of that white. Remember, I always like to put some black paper in. I think I still need something else to break it up. Maybe I should flip this around and do that instead. Also, I can actually cover the white paper later. All right, I think I'm going to put maybe 2 or 3 more pages in, but they're just going to be regular paper probably. And then I'll figure out what to do with the white space, and we'll go from there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. That is it for this one. Make sure you check out part 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And you may be interested in this other video. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.